Healing is beautiful and feeling our emotions is beautiful, but healing is not yet thriving, and our goal is to go to thriving. Thriving simply means living life with love, with courage, with authenticity, with joy, with presence, with connection, with abundance, with everything that you want for your life. But if that's where you stay, then you will just stay feeling your emotions and feeling your emotions and feeling your emotions and basically letting your emotions run your life rather than having your emotions help you live the life that you want, which is their goal and what they're made for. But now that you've done that, now it's time to thrive, to go to the next level, and that requires a direction, a purpose. Basically, it requires leadership from you to become who you want to become in a way that feels so effortless and effective and joyful. And it's because now your emotions are working for you. They're no longer blocking you. They're actually helping you go in that direction. They're moving your energy in the right direction. And that's exactly how emotions go from blocks into superpowers. What would it be like to have your emotions working for you instead of against you? If your emotions were your superpowers instead of your biggest blocks, what would your life look like? What would become possible for you? Welcome back to Talk the Walk, where we explore how to walk your journey of healing, growth, and transformation with more success, ease, and joy. So welcome to another episode on the 3 pillars of emotional mastery, and today we are finally diving into the third and final pillar of my approach of emotional mastery. And so what is this third pillar? Let's just quickly review the last 2 pillars. So the first one we said was inner safety, which is that capacity and that inner state where you can be with all of your emotions, all parts of you are safe to exist inside of you. The inner state inside of you is one of safety, where everything is welcome, all parts of you are welcome, and there's nothing that you need to change in yourself, nothing that you need to stop to be loved, to be welcomed. It's that inner state from which then you will be able to bring that safety into your traumatized, fragmented, wounded emotions and help them heal, which would be through feeling them. And by bringing that, by feeling them through emotional awareness, you get to this second pillar, which we call emotional fluidity, which means when you are able to be with all of your emotions, to feel all your emotions without getting stuck with them and allowing all the energy to pass through you. So you can be in this emotion, then in the other one, and you never get stuck in any emotional state, which also means that you're not afraid of your emotions anymore. Which also means that now you can do anything in life because you're not afraid of getting triggered, you're not afraid of whatever you might feel. And those two together are very powerful, and inner safety and emotional fluidity together, they are what creates beautiful, deep, powerful healing. So they help you go from a state of fragmented emotions and a lot of inner conflict, inner unsafety. You are fragmented, you are blocked in life, right? You have all those blocks because of your emotions being in unsafe positions, being unsafe to feel. Go from there to a place where you are integrated with inner harmony and you're whole. Again, you're whole and you can be yourself. You feel much more present, alive. Life is more beautiful. You have more connection, more love, more joy available, more energy available. And that's amazing. That's what happens. So now why do we need a third pillar? What's happening here? And again, just reminding you that all these 3 pillars are actually like the same thing, but just seen from different perspectives and different stages. So what is this third and final one? And why is it needed? Well, healing is beautiful and feeling our emotions is beautiful, but healing is not yet thriving. And our goal is to go to thriving. And what is thriving? Thriving simply means living life with love, with courage, with authenticity, with joy, with presence, with connection, with abundance, with everything that you want for your life. That's what thriving means. It's living up to your potential. And so healing is a necessary step to get there, but it's not yet thriving. It's not yet that. And so if you just stay there feeling your emotions all the time, you are healing, like, okay, I'm healing now, I'm doing this healing work, I'm feeling all my emotions, going through all my emotions, and that's amazing. But if that's where you stay, then you will just stay feeling your emotions and feeling your emotions and feeling your emotions, and basically letting your emotions run your life rather than having your emotions help you live the life that you want, which is their goal and what they're made for. And so I see this actually with a lot of people who have been doing this healing work for a long time. They have been on the healing path. They are very much into emotional healing. And they're great at that, and they have healed themselves in beautiful ways. But I see, and they often feel that too, that there's still something missing. They've done all this healing, but there's still something missing, that they're not yet feeling that thriving in life, at that next level, that something more, that potential that they have. And so this is where it happens. And this is why they get stuck there, because they get stuck in the second pillar, in that emotional awareness and emotional fluidity. But they just stay there feeling, and never going into thriving. And I have a lot of students that are exactly in this stage, and maybe you are too, and maybe you don't know how to get to the next stage. So this is that. This is how you get to the next stage. How do you go from just healing, where you are, okay, if you spend there too much time, you are like, basically now you're just feeling and your emotions are just running your life. You're not thriving to your next level. How do you go now into the next level? How do you go just from healing into thriving? And the answer is very simple. Okay, now that you have recovered your emotions, reintegrated them, and built an harmonious inner state, now it's time to actually help and let your emotions do the job that they were designed to make, which is to work for you, which is to help you thrive. And the thing is that they need something from you to help you do that. Now that they are healed, now that they are with you, and that they trust you, and that they feel safe, and they feel ready to fulfill their function, and there's no more all that inner conflict, now they need you to lead them to thrive. So they are ready to do their function. Their function is to help move your energy in the direction that is best for you. But they're not the ones who decide your direction. And that's what they need from you now. Because until now, you haven't been really doing that. You have been just welcoming them, feeling them, restoring them to safety, because that was what was needed to heal. But now that you've done that, now it's time to thrive, to go to the next level. And that requires a direction, a purpose. Basically, it requires leadership from you. And since your emotions are healed now, they will follow. And they are waiting for that. And that's why the third pillar is very much connected to this alignment, to purpose. And I have even often called purpose to this third pillar, but what I most like to call it is inner leadership. So inner leadership is what I call this third pillar, and it just means this that I've been describing to you. It means that now, rather than just being with your emotions, you're actually giving them the purpose, the direction that you want to go in life, whether that is to achieve something, whatever it is, or build that relationship, or start that business, or become who you want to become, or live how you want to live. The thing is that now you're giving them that direction. You're letting that become their purpose that they will function around. Because remember, your emotions, they have the function that is to direct your energy and make you move, but it's always around something important. And before they did the healing process, they were already organized around this trauma and around this lack of safety. That was what they were working on. But now that you have done the healing process, that energy has been freed. And so they're ready to help you thrive. They just need that purpose. They just need that direction so that they can align around it. And that's your job now, is to not only be that space of inner safety, but actually become the leader of your emotions, giving them that purpose, that direction, not by forcing them, not by, forcing them to do anything, but you're just now holding that. You're just like, okay, now this is my direction, this is my purpose, and you're holding that, and your emotions, they are receiving that from you now, because now they are your team. And this is something that is very important to say, and I will talk about this soon, but this is only working because you did the previous process. If you didn't do the previous process, they wouldn't be your team. They would still not listen to you, and you'd just be forcing it. So we'll talk about this soon. But now, because you've done the previous process and you've done the previous 2 pillars, now they are your team. Now they're working for you. Now they're harmonious and aligned with you. So if you hold that alignment, that purpose, that inner leadership, they will follow it and they will work for you, and they will help you make it happen with much more ease and effectiveness and joy than you ever thought possible. You'll be able to achieve the things you want in life and have the things you want and become who you want to become in a way that feels so effortless and effective and joyful. And it's because now your emotions are working for you. They're no longer blocking you. They're actually helping you go in that direction. They're moving your energy in the right direction. And that's exactly how emotions go from blocks into superpowers. Basically, this is the stage where they become your superpowers. That's the final stage. Through inner leadership, through that alignment, through that purpose, that's how they become your superpowers, and they help you achieve anything you want with ease, joy, effectiveness, power, all of that. And so, yeah, they basically become your team. And think about, like, how do you lead a team? The way that you lead a team is you're not telling your team members what to do and how to do their job. They know how to do it. That's why they're there, right? You're just holding that team cohesion, and you're giving them or holding for them that purpose, that vision, that direction. And we're all working for it. The team is working for that. So that's how you lead a team outside. And that's exactly how you lead your inner team. And by the way, just a side note, for those of you who are team leaders, the best way to become a team leader for people outside is to become a great team leader for your inner team of emotions and all the parts of you. And when you know how to do that, you become a natural leader outside as well. But they both work the same. And that's also how you become the leader of your own emotions. It's not by, you're no longer trying to control your emotions. You're no longer forcing them to be, or fighting them or resisting them. But you're also no longer being controlled by your emotions. And that's the big difference here. So you're not trying to control them, but they're also not trying to control you anymore. It's just working together as the team and you as the leader. And that's exactly what happens. You hold that safe space, you help your emotions be in that inner harmony, that inner cohesion, and you hold that purpose, you hold that alignment, that direction for them, connecting to them, and you just watch that. You just watch your life change, and you just watch yourself achieve the things that you want. And this seems like, oh, that's impossible. No, it's actually what happens because you've done the previous process. That's actually what happens. And by the way, again, as I was saying, the way that you have to do this, it's only possible with the previous 2 pillars. So the only reason why your emotions are now actually listening to you and they will follow you as the leader and they are aligned is because they trust you as the leader. They see you as a leader. And the reason why they trust you as a leader, think about how do you trust leaders, like in a good way. It's when they help make you feel safe and heard and you're connected to them. And that's exactly the same. So your emotions only trust you and they will only become your superpowers and align with your purpose very easily and very powerfully because and only if first they feel safe with you, they trust you, and that's inner safety, right? The first pillar. And second, they feel connected. There's that connection. There's that bridge that you listen to them, you felt them, you heard them, you welcome them through inner safety and emotional fluidity. And because you listen to them, now they listen to you. And so your message of the purpose and of the alignment that you want to have in your life and the direction that you want to go, it only gets to the emotions for these 2 reasons. Because first, you have the emotional fluidity. So you have the connection with your emotions. They are connected and you listen to them. So they're listening to you, right? They are together with you. And second, they trust your message because of that inner safety. They trust you as a leader. And if you don't have any of these or one of these, inner leadership is not going to work because the message is either not going to get to the emotion, or even if it gets to the emotion, it's not going to be heard. And if you try, this is super important, if you try inner leadership without the 2 pillars before, it's not going to be inner leadership. It's going to be something else that I call overriding, which is when you're trying to like fight their emotions and force them to become whatever they want to become, and to force them to work in a way, or fighting them so that you can achieve your goals. And this is, first of all, you can see this exactly the opposite of how I was describing inner leadership, right? And second of all, this is very, very common in people, especially those kinds of high performer people, high performant, high achiever. So if you are a high achiever, if you are a high performer, you might be doing this. I see this in most people with those personalities and in those like maybe high positions. They are achieving, but it's at a big cost, and it's at the cost of fighting their emotions. So it's not really true inner leadership. It's like a fake inner leadership because it's missing the other two pillars. And what happens, the problem with this is if you just do that pillar inner leadership, basically you're fighting your emotions and you don't have the other two pillars, what's going to happen eventually, because you don't have the other two, is with that constant fight, you're just increasing the inner unsafety that you have, inner unsafety, and it's going to accumulate and eventually lead to collapse and burnout. And that's why burnout is so common in high achievers and high performers, because they're doing the inner leadership without the other two pillars. That's the bad news, but the good news is if you learn how to do inner safety and emotional awareness and then add inner leadership properly, then you're going to have a level of performance that is unmatched, because you can actually keep that level of performance without ever going to overwhelm, without ever going into burnout, because you have the three pillars. And if you learn how to do that, you not only will increase your performance, but you'll be able to maintain it and feel even happy and joyful and healthy while doing that. And that's the good news for all of the performers there, okay? So this is what happens when you're just doing inner leadership. I also just want to briefly note that sometimes, for example, people do inner leadership and one of the other pillars, but not both pillars. I'll also see that happen. So for example, sometimes you can have, and this is very common, in inner leadership and inner safety, but you're skipping emotional fluidity and feeling your feelings. So you know how to find that place of inner safety inside of you, and then you try to live from purpose from there, but you're skipping the actual difficult part of meeting the difficult emotions and feeling them and being with them and bringing them to safety, because that's the scariest part, and I see this a lot. And this also doesn't work with time, because it's just going to be a fake form of thriving, because you're thriving, but you're not whole yet. So you're not really thriving. It's like, yeah, you're kind of achieving things in life and you can kind of regulate yourself, but something is missing. And maybe you can feel it in yourself, but you see this a lot with some kind of people. And this, I call it bypassing. And you probably heard that word before, bypassing, because you're literally bypassing. Like you've probably heard spiritual bypassing, toxic positivity, things like that. And this is what's happening. Like you're literally bypassing the emotions that need to be felt, and you're just doing the nice parts. And this is very common. And these people seem to be like achieving in life and they can regulate themselves, but there's something missing. They're not whole. They're not fully themselves. They're not authentic. And it's also not ideal. It's a fake thriving. So you need the three pillars in the right order. And sometimes I also see it, I think it's a little bit more rare, but just inner leadership and emotional fluidity, but no inner safety. I've also seen this happen. And this is like those people that are trying to like achieve their lives and transform their lives and like manifest the lives that they want in a way that includes like feeling stuff, like includes the emotional part, and they are aware that they need to include the emotions to be able to truly change their lives and manifest what they want. But they're doing it in a way that's actually not welcoming their difficult emotions. They're rejecting the parts of them that they don't like and trying to like override them again, like leave them behind and just create the new life from new emotions. And I'm not going to mention names, of course, but there are some programs and teachers that do teach that too. They teach like, it's when you're learning how to like manifest and change yourself, and they tell you like, okay, you know, you have to choose and feel yourself, almost force yourself to feel the emotion that you want to feel and that you will feel in that situation in your life. And that has a lot of truth to it. But if you're doing that while rejecting the emotions, the parts of you that feel that you cannot do that feel traumatized, that feel weak, that feel small, that feel rejected, then you're just fragmenting yourself more. And I call that dissociation. So it can help you again transform, but you're going to be separating, kind of creating a bigger shadow inside of you because you're rejecting those emotions. You're just going into the new version of you, but you're rejecting the old version of you instead of integrating it. And so it ends up creating a bigger shadow, bigger unconscious for you, which will eventually run your life as well. And so it's also not the whole integrated, holistic way of thriving. The holistic, whole integrated way of thriving is by having the 3 pillars: inner safety, emotional fluidity, inner leadership together in that order. And when you have the 3, you can get to thriving. So that's the warning to the achievers out there that sometimes want to go just to the inner leadership and skip the other 2 or skip one of the other 2. It's important. But I also have to give a warning to the healers. Like I said before, there's sometimes in this personal development work, there's sometimes a separation between these 2 types of people, the achievers and the healers. So the achievers are just achieving, and skip the other 2. But the healers are they're just focusing on the other 2 pillars or one of the other 2 pillars, either inner safety or emotional fluidity or both. So they're healing, but they're actually avoiding the inner leadership part. And that's also going to keep you stuck. As I was saying in the beginning, you need the 3. So if you are a healer and you're just being healing, now it's time for you to add inner leadership so you can actually move forward and thrive in life and achieve beautiful things and get to your next level. And I know that maybe that's scary for you, which is why you're avoiding it, but that's your next level. And that's where you need to go. And we are here to help you do that in an even safer way and effective and enjoyable. So I want to share something with you, which is how do you actually lead, if you're leading your emotions, if you're giving them your purpose, how do you find that purpose? That's a question that a lot of people are going to have here. And I want to say this is a completely entire other podcast and episode and training that I will create, how to find that purpose and how to then have your emotions align around that. But I just want to say something very interesting here, which is the best way to lead. It's not by telling how things should be. The best leaders are the ones who follow. They follow where the energy goes. They can feel where things need to move, and they're just helping things move in that direction. They're not just for example, imagine water flowing through a creek. You're not telling the water where it should go. You're not trying to excavate the floor so the water goes in that direction. That's actually what you were doing before you are healing and before you get to the inner leadership. Your emotions are all fragmented. So you're trying to manage yourself. You're trying to make things happen by kind of forcing, by kind of I need to make this happen. But this is not how you're doing it anymore with inner leadership, because with inner leadership, now you are whole, you are integrated. So because of that, because all your parts are no longer in conflict, and so they are blocking the deeper levels of your being. Now you get access to that deeper level of you where your true purpose, your true energy, your true direction, your true desires exist and live in, and you can access that. And it's not something that you think about. It's not something that you decide. It's something that already lives inside of you. And because you've done the healing work, you can now access that, and you simply let it come through you. Let that energy, let that purpose that already exists in you, let it come through you. Let it flow through your emotions and let it flow out. And all you're doing you're actually not telling yourself, not deciding where to go. You're following where your energy already wants to go, where your soul wants to go, where your core being wants to go. By following, you're leading by following, and you're simply becoming aware of that purpose and bringing it up and offering it to your emotions. And this is how you become that inner leader. And again, bringing that metaphor with the water running through a creek, instead of trying to carve the path for it, you're just saying, oh, the water wants to flow there, but there's a rock blocking the path. So I'm going to help remove that rock, and now the water can flow, right? And you're just recognizing, you're just letting the water flow where it needs to flow better. And that's it. That's how you find that inner leadership. That's how you find your purpose. I will share much more about this, but it's something that once you get to this level, to the inner leadership, you become the inner leader not by deciding, what I want to do with my life is make $1 million or whatever it is. No, it's something that once you get to this level of inner leadership, you can listen to yourself. You can reconnect with that energy that exists in your heart and feel where it wants to go. And you're basically leading by following that. And then because your emotions see you as the inner leader, then you're giving that to your emotions. You're holding that direction for your emotions, not by forcing it, but just simply by recognizing it and empowering that in you. And your emotions will help you achieve it. Because, again, you are the inner leader now. So you take care of your emotions, and because of that, they trust you. You listen to your emotions, and because of that, they listen to you. They see you as their trusted source of direction. They see you as a leader. And instead of working against you, they now work with you. They work for you. Instead of working like alone and making you do things without reflection, they advise and consult with you. They become like your team. You can actually listen to them, speak to them, hear what they have to say, and work together with them. So basically, your emotions work together as a cohesive team and with you as the leader. And they will align around your purpose, and they will help you achieve it faster, with more ease and more success and more joy than ever before. And that's how your emotions become your superpowers. And that's pillar number 3, inner leadership through purpose. And I hope you can see now how it can and will change your life, because it will. And I hope you also see the importance of having the 3 levels, okay? The 3 pillars in the right order. And if you don't have the 3 pillars in the right order, then you get stuck and can even harm yourself. But if you do have the 3 pillars in the right order, then everything becomes possible for you. You have emotional mastery because you have the 3 pillars of emotional mastery, and you can literally, you improve your relationship with yourself so much, with life, with others. You can achieve what you want. You feel like you're living your purpose. It's living in a way that's thriving. And that's what I want for you, to thrive. So just think about it. What would your life be like if you had this inner leadership and the 3 pillars together? What would it be like to have your emotions working for you instead of against you? If your emotions were your superpowers instead of your biggest blocks, what would your life look like? What would become possible for you? What things that you feel are impossible right now will become achievable for you, and even easy, if that's at all possible to imagine? How much more energy and joy would you have in your daily life? And above all, who would you become? Who would you become if you have these 3 pillars? So I'm going to leave you with those questions, and again, answer them in the chat for me or in the comments. But yeah, this is how you go from unhealthy coping to healthy coping to healing and finally to thriving. These are the 3 pillars, and this is how they change your life. Number 1, inner safety. Number 2, emotional fluidity. And number 3, inner leadership. And I like to think of them as a tree. So imagine inner safety is like the roots of the tree, and emotional fluidity, it's like the trunk and the branches. And then the inner leadership is like the leaves that finally they bear the flower and the fruit. And that's how I like to think of them. I also like to use this metaphor to show that even though the leaves are what produces the flower and the fruit, so the beautiful thing, they could never work without the roots bringing them the nutrients to be able to do that, and without the trunk and the branches being able to create that connection for the roots to bring that up to them. So you need those 2 for the leaves to work. And that's a beautiful way of seeing this metaphor. But this also brings one last point for today, which is also for the healers. So that was for the achievers, but for the healers, also remember that the roots and the trunk also need the leaves to work. Because if you just have roots and the trunk, but you don't do the inner leadership, if you don't have the leaves, then you have nothing to produce energy to actually help sustain the roots and the trunk. So you need to have inner leadership as well if you want to continue growing your inner safety and your emotional fluidity. And that's something that I haven't said yet, but in the end, inner leadership is also needed for the other two. It also feeds back to the other two. And that's the beauty of these three pillars and how they are interrelated. And this is important because sometimes people, when they hear me say that there are two pillars, inner safety and emotional fluidity, before you actually get like to inner leadership and thriving and making and following your purpose, they're like, oh, okay, I shouldn't leave my purpose yet. I shouldn't start being like the leader of myself yet because I still need that. You do need that, but how much inner safety and how much of the other pillars do you need to have inner leadership? How much do you need it? Do you need 100%? Of course not. 50%? How much do you need? How much do you need? And here's the truth. Think about how a plant grows or how a tree grows, right? How the tree grows. It doesn't fully grow the roots first, then the trunk first, and then the leaves. Could never work like that. The way that the tree grows, it's the first thing that comes is the radical. So a little bit of root. When it starts sprouting, it has a little bit of root. So it can start absorbing the nutrients from the ground. And then immediately, even before developing any more roots, it immediately sprouts the stem, the initial stem. And from there, the first leaves immediately come out because it's going to need those leaves to start using the nutrients to produce energy so that it can use that energy to continue growing. And so those first leaves will feed together with the roots and the stem will feed more energy so it can create more roots, it can grow its roots, and it can grow more of its stem, eventually a trunk, and then it can have more leaves. And the more leaves give more energy for more roots, more stem, more leaves, and that's how it grows. It grows like that. So it's right from the beginning that you need the three. And from the beginning, basically, you also need inner leadership. Even if it's 1%. So the way that the tree grows is like that. And the way that you will grow in your emotional mastery and in your life is also like that. First, you have 1%, you create 1% inner safety, then 1% emotional fluidity, and then immediately 1% inner leadership. Because that 1% inner leadership is exactly what's going to help you then get to 2% inner safety. And the cycle goes on. Think about it. Actually, if you think about it, like imagine a team without a leader or with a leader, which one feels safer? A team without a leader or with a leader? It's with a leader, right? So your emotions will feel the same. Once your emotions feel there's a leader, help there, present, a safe leader, giving direction, giving purpose, even if it's just 1%, they will feel safer than with nothing. And that's why even just a little bit inner leadership from the beginning will also help feedback and increase the first pillar, inner safety, and from them, and from their emotional fluidity, and from their more inner leadership, and that's how it goes. So this is just a warning for you. You shouldn't be waiting until you have 100% inner safety or even 50% inner safety to move forward. Be like the tree, start with 1%. And then grow from there. But ask yourself, what little thing can I do for myself today? What little thing can I do for my emotions today that will help me take the next step and go from 1% to 2% and so on? And that's what I want to leave you with. And of course, as always, I invite you, if you want our help in doing this process, I invite you to check out our courses and programs where we have built a lot of support and guidance and everything you need to be able to walk this journey with success and ease and joy. And that might be what your 1% inner leadership is, to make that choice for you and join us. So you can check them out at starsoulschool.com, and we cannot wait to welcome you. See you soon. Thanks for listening to this episode of Talk the Walk. If you enjoyed it, like us and send it to someone who you think will like it too. We love your feedback and interaction, and you're welcome to leave us a comment or review, ask a question, or just reach out. Lastly, if today's conversation stirred something in you, remember, you don't have to walk this path alone. Our Star Soul Skill community is where these conversations continue, where you can connect with others on similar journeys and access to courses and support designed to help you integrate this work into your daily life. You will find everything at starsoulschool.com, and the link is in the show notes. See you next time.